Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Garage Time TV here. I am Marshall and today we are going to be jumping back into our 1952 GMC pickup truck project that we picked up not too long ago here. If you're new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe and hit the notification bell. It really helps us out, so please make sure you do that. But if you are just joining us, we have a couple videos that we've done before this. The day we revealed it, then we got it all cleaned out from all the raccoons' nest, and then most recently we tried to get this thing running. And I won't spoil it, so if you haven't seen that video, make sure you guys go check that out. We will have the playlist down in the description for this truck's build series, so make sure you guys go check that out and get caught up to where we're at now. But we are still in the aftermath of our last video where we try to get this thing running. Again, make sure you check that out. But what we're going to be doing now is blowing this thing apart. We are literally going to be taking everything off. We're going to go, fenders are going to come off, the grill's going to come off, front all area is going to come off. We're going to need to get the bumpers off, doors, the rear fenders, truck bed, running boards, all this stuff is going to come off. And so I went and picked up a nice new fresh bottle of PB Blast because I really hope that all of this will come apart. Because our ultimate goal is to get this thing down to just the frame, like a rolling chassis, I guess, if you want to be technical. But I want to get this thing all pulled apart because I want to start sanding all these body panels. I did do a test section in the back, I'll show you in a second, of what that looks like. And it's actually looking pretty promising. We started with a little bit more of an aggressive sandpaper and then we'll move up to there to try and give it a good finish before we start priming and all that stuff for paint. But I want to get this all the way down to the frame, get all the stuff off of it, get rid of the stuff we don't need so we can start making those changes. It's going to be quite an undertaking, and honestly I don't know where I'm going to put all these panels. But first things first, we're going to have to move some of the stuff out of the way. You know, we've got this big bike here. Unfortunately it's raining and I don't really want to put that outside in the rain. So we're gonna have to see what we can come up with. A little bit of Tetris in the garage, I guess, if you want to call it that. So first things first, we need to clean up a little bit, give ourselves somewhere to stand, and I think we'll probably just start with the hood, I guess, and then we can go into the fenders, front, back, start working on running boards. We might leave the doors on for now because I'd like to do the cab as like one big piece. You know, roll down the windows and do a strap through the cab and try and get it off and all that stuff. We're going to be taking the glass out. I mean, this is complete. Everything is coming out. I've got plenty of Ziploc bags, Sharpie to write on, so we make sure we label everything. But I think what we can start with first is definitely the hood. Get that off, out of our way, and move on this side, and then we'll move to the other side and start really pulling this apart. I'm really excited to get down to this frame to see what we're working with and start to see these panels come together. But let me show you that little sanding section we did at the back here to see really kind of what we're working with. This is that back fender, the driver's side here. But we took our DA sander and started working some of that off, and this is a really coarse, rough flaking that's coming off here. Kind of probably see a little bit better like that. It's all pretty rough here, but I took a little sample here, messed out with a good patch here, and you can see the raw metal. Don't mind all the scratches. We're gonna get a little bit finer and finer and really tune this thing up. Looks pretty good. The little section here in the middle, you can see all the layers of different colors of paint. I think this truck was originally this kind of grayish color that you see there, and it was painted like blue on top of it. You can see the blue coming through. Different colors of blue, part of why the interior and all that is sprayed that blue that's flaking, but you can kind of see some of it poking through here too. So it's kind of interesting. I'm not really sure what color this was originally, but anyway, so it turned out pretty good, and it's nice and smooth. Well, relatively smooth. So it looks good. But yeah, we're just gonna start blowing all this stuff off. I'm gonna get you guys set up in some pretty good spots and see what we can come up with, because I know these bolts aren't all gonna be super nice to me, but we'll ask nicely and we'll give them a little bit of lubricant, and hopefully they'll start coming loose. So let's get to work here. Alright, so I'm pretty sure we got all the nuts out, nuts and bolts. We only broke about 3 out of the probably 12 to 15 that are supposed to hold this whole thing on. So that's pretty good. But of course they happen to be the ones that are, you know, where the water and dirt and rust get kicked up from the tires. So kind of be expected. We're going to be replacing quite a bit of hardware where it's really important. So this should be free. Now, I've never taken one of these trucks apart, ever. But I'm pretty sure we got it all out, so we're going to take our rubber mallet, see if we can get this thing to pop off for us. I'm pretty sure our front grille is detached on the front there, so we should be free to go. There is still a couple more nuts, but they're pretty ugly looking under there. So we're going to see if this will work, but we're just going to go for it. Well, it looks like taking off these fenders is going to be a little more complicated than I thought. For some reason I thought it was just, on the inside of the well, coupled to the inner fender, boom, boom, done. Now there's like little bolts on the inside of the grill and all sorts of stuff. So it's like I've got to start from the front where the grill is, get all of that taken off and away so I can access the next layer of bolts, get all those out so I can access the next layer, which, in all fairness, is kind of smart to structurally make it strong, but it's really annoying when you're trying to take it all apart. So I think we're going to just do a lot of this, of just unscrewing everything, and it's not necessarily the most exciting thing to watch, so I'll spare you, but when we start pulling panels off, I'll bring you back and make it a little bit more progressive, because it's going to be a minute until we get to really start pulling stuff off. So lots of broken bolts and ratcheting, and super excited for this. All right, so we've got the front grille off right there, and it was about 6 bolts. I'm gonna show you that. Right here, there's 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, and that thing came right out. We also took off all the hardware here. Only one snapped off, which makes sense, all the water collects right here. But then this comes out. But note to self, you have to take the grill out first before this, because the angle of the hood release actually sticks in this here. So you're not gonna be able to pull this out without the grill out. So just, if you ever have to do that, that's how that comes out. And all of a sudden, looks like stuff finally starting to come out. It's amazing what just a grill can do. When we took out the radiator to do the will it run and get some stuff in there, that was all attached as well. Here and here there's a top piece and the little cowl thing that was there. So we're just going to keep trucking here, just keep lubing up these bolts. So far we've got a 4 snapped so far, so hopefully it'll be less than that, but we got to do these here, and then we've got some on the inside of the fender well here and here to get this radiator support out, and then we'll be able to keep going. But you can definitely see where other bolts have broken in the past and stuff, where people have tried to take stuff apart. So we just got to keep lubricating as best we can, and see if we can get probably this part off next. That way we can then go to the fender and try and get that off, which is the whole thing we wanted to do in the first place. All right, I think we've found success here, because this is significantly more loose. We've got that grill off, we've got the top hood latch assembly, and we've also got the front, I guess, grill surround that has a logo on it. All that is off, all the bolts on the inside are off, so really we should be able to, theoretically now, lift this off. Well, this is a good start. What's really not going to be fun is when we paint this thing. Yes, surprise, surprise, we're not going to leave it like this. It's going to be fun putting this all back together without scratching it. But I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. All right, progress. right, time for the hammer. It's like you hear water or something. I wonder if like the headlight is full of water. Nice and easy. Just let it out. Just let go. Nice and easy. Almost. A little bit more. Hey, we've got a Fender. And yes, I cut all the wiring because we're going to rewire this thing too, which is going to be super fun. But hey, we've got it off. I gotta find somewhere to put this thing down. I did not plan this very well. Now that the fender's off, we can actually get a decent look on the inside of the wheel well here, the inner fender. Not too bad. This is all here, which is good. I don't think that's held on by much, maybe just, yeah, one more bolt there. Got a little holder still for the wiring, that's nice. A lot of just dirt and grease and grime up in there on the frame. Much better look at the frame. Definitely looks good. See where the dirt likes to collect. Rust out those brake lines. Gonna be replacing those too. But all looks pretty decent. You know, the frame still looks pretty good. Cab mount looks okay there. Don't see anything severe rust there, just surface stuff. That's good progress. Looks like to get our inner fender out, there's 3 bolts on the inside. Got 1 bolt up there. There's 2 down there underneath all that grime and muck. Oh, there's 2 here. I think that'll take off that part because that's also what's holding on our radiator support on this side. And that should come apart. We'll need to we can probably pull that wiring through the fender and just kind of lay it over the engine. But oh, there's our bolt. Oh, there's a screw here. A screw right there, and there's another one down there. That's going to be super fun to get to because clearly water likes to sit there and rust out. Not very practical angles on this thing to prevent rust, but I don't think GMC was really thinking, you know, hey, in 50 years, where's this thing going to be? You know, so, but that's all right. So, looking good. It is pretty late, and we did have to break out the grinder and the air hammer, so I don't think my neighbors are super happy with me. So I think this is where we're going to call it a night. This is a good victory for us. Our fender looks good. I did notice, I think on this side, yeah, there's a little bit, oh, I thought that's rust, but it's just the old foam pad that's in there. Rubber pad that separates it, isolator. But other than that, I think it looks pretty good. So anyway, I think this is what we're going to call it a night for tonight. I'll probably do some more panel removal tomorrow off camera. This is really just over and over and over process. It's going to be much easier to get to stuff like our hood, and with the front already taken off, the other fender should come off pretty easy. The hood, we'll probably deal with the bumper as well, but I'm making sure to put everything in a bag and label the bag with a Sharpie on the outside or a piece of paper with a Sharpie inside of the Ziploc bag. That way when we go put this all on the shelf, you know, in 8 months, 9 months, whenever that is, that we come back to this, we know where all the nuts and bolts go. Granted, some are going to be missing, so we're going to need hardware, and we're probably going to want to replace almost all of it. But there may be 1 or 2 that we can use in like a non-crucial part just to help hold stuff together. So I just want to make sure we're labeling all that, make sure we have the right quantities, all that stuff. So I'm just making sure we're doing that as we go and not to rush through this disassembly and then have nuts and bolts everywhere and not remember where everything goes. Ask me how I know how fun that is to deal with. You know, when we did the black 124, that was in a gazillion pieces. So don't want to do that again. Anyway, we're going to call it a night for tonight. I think tomorrow I'll knock out a lot and I'll bring you guys back when stuff is much different than this.
The next day.
Well, good morning. It is the next day. You know, what I really want to do today is really get this thing all fully blown apart. We moved out quite a bit of stuff. We got the bike outside. It's not raining on us today, which is nice. It is just a little cooler, so we threw on the sweater. But everything is out of the way for the most part, so we have some room to move. But the ultimate goal today is to get this thing completely blown apart. I want all the fenders off, want the truck bed off. I don't know if we're gonna be able to get the cab. That's gonna be a whole nother monster on its own, but we're gonna try and look into that. Running boards, bumpers, all that stuff needs to come off. I'd really like to get this all off today and into pieces, that way we can get them kind of up on the shelf out of the way, so we can actually move around the garage with the door shut, because it's only going to be getting colder for a little while, up and through probably March or April. So the goal is to get that all blown apart. I'm going to throw you guys up so you guys get some good angles to get this thing going, but it's going to be a lot of what we did last night with just chasing the bolts around, trying to find what makes it come loose, pull it apart, and save all the hardware. We're probably going to end up getting all new hardware anyway, nuts and bolts. A lot of these are super rusted, and after all the hard work we put into this thing, I don't know if I really want to put rusty, compromised hardware back together on it. So we'll order a huge bag of hardware. Luckily, a lot of these are almost the same size, so it's not like you have to order a million different sizes of hardware, which is kind of nice. So let's get started here. Time's a ticking. We're going to throw on some music, get some blood flowing, so we can get this thing up and going. But again, the whole goal is to get this all blown apart today, which would be really cool to see it go from this to basically just a frame with a cab on it. So let's see how much we can do today, put on some jams and get to work. Alright, so this is the last panel to come off. We've taken off this whole side, running boards, little trim piece, fenders, inner fender, hood, all that good stuff, but this is the last one to come off. We ended up having to break out the grinders and cutoff wheels just to get them off. We've got Phillips head screws on the inside and a nut on the back. There's just no way those are coming off, and we're going to replace it all anyway. So we just went zip zap, got them all done. This is the last one to come off right here. Who wants to play nice? Well, come on now. There we go, I think that's it. Maybe not. There we go. That was easy. Last fender is off. All these on the inside we cut off from the inside. This one that has the top brace in there, that one, we had to cut it from the back side and kind of shave the head off the bolt, or the Phillips screw, whatever you want to call it, to get it to come off. Just because there's no way it's going to get a grinder in there. It's kind of like a C-channel thing, so you can't really get a cutoff wheel in there. But this fender overall looks really good. Just got a lot of surface rust, a couple of dings and dents. There's a little crease right here from where the running board meets it, and it looks like it's been kind of hit too hard, and a little bit here on this spot here. Nothing that we can't just pinch back together, weld, and hammer it a little bit to straighten it back out. But this one looks good. Take off our light here. But let's set this down and take a look. The whole side is gone, and it looks really interesting without all the trim and stuff on it is really starting to come apart, making it more real that we're actually digging into this thing. But we can actually get a good look down in here, again, more into the frame, more than what we just looked at when we first went to go buy it. And again, it still looks super solid. Just surface rust, which is not a big deal. We'll DA a lot of what we can. We might have to go get one of those like handheld blaster, sandblaster type things to really get down in the seat part of the frame on the back side. But overall, it looks really good. Don't see anything that's screaming out at me that's rotted or anything like that. So, looking good so far. Got our helper springs and our basic leaf springs here. You know, we had to take the drums off to get this thing to roll. So that's all off. These running board supports look good. I don't see anything crazy wrong with those either. So we're making progress. You know, we're coming around to the front here. The running boards had like carriage bolts in there. You have to like slide them out a certain way. I just cut them all off. We're gonna replace them anyway. They're pretty rotted. Again, little inner fender hood coming off. So we've got one side, but we've still got this whole side. Great.
Many hours later.
Both sides are taken apart and all laid out here in the driveway. So it's nice to see it all apart. And this side looks basically just as good as the passenger side. So that's a good sign. We do have, you know, some of the common spots where dirt likes to pile up a little bit more rust. Finding some little spots here, you know, but this is a really common spot. So I'm not super worried with that little tiny hole. You can see where someone used some silicone in the past to try and fix that window leak. Didn't really work out too well for him, I guess. But yeah, everything's starting to look good. We've got it all taken apart here, all the way up. This whole fender came apart the exact same way. And all of our pieces are here in the driveway. So the next big challenge is going to be, I think I might just take off these bumpers just for space sake. But the next big challenge is going to start looking into this cab and the truck bed. I've already taken off the bolts on the side here. These, of course, the very top, they're 1/2 inch. These are 7/16. This 1/2 inch, of course, is just spinning in there and you can't really get to it. So I'm going to have to probably take the cab off first so I can get an angle grinder in there. Because as it sits now, I can't get a cutoff wheel in there. So I have to wait on that one. But I think the really last bits are going to be the parts that hold on the tailgate here, the little hinge. Looks like there's, well, maybe not. Maybe it's just a threaded hole. But this tailgate needs to come off. We'll probably do that rear bumper as well. But it's all starting to come apart, and the deeper we've gone into taking stuff off, more and more of the bolts have just been snapping off, and they're littered everywhere. I mean, you can see all the dirt and rust that's coming out of this thing from just banging around on it. But a lot of it is just, you know, really bad hardware. I definitely want to replace all this stuff because I'm not going to want to throw all this back onto a freshly redone truck. But again, so far looks really, really good. I think what I'll do is the last thing for today, because there's a lot of errands to run today, is blow off these bumpers just so I have a little bit more room to get around. So we'll knock these off and start bringing all this in because can't really leave this out. So we'll see how easy these come off. Well, it's the next day, and as you can tell, the truck has been moved outside. It's actually really, really nice outside, so it's a good time to take advantage of the sunlight and not be cooped up here in the garage. But it also gave us a good chance to sweep everything up. There was tons of rust and dirt and debris that, after moving all these panels from yesterday, just fell everywhere. Lots and lots of dustpanfuls of dirt and rust flakes. So those are all swept up, so we have a nice clean slate to start with. But I thought if we're going to continue to make all that dirt and dust on the floor, we might as well just do it out there where it's not, you know, in the garage. So we're going to go out today. We're going to start working on getting the cab removed, and if we can get the cab removed, then we can work on the truck bed side of it, if I can even put words together. The truck bed also to come off as well. I took a crawl underneath there on my creeper. Looks like there's 2 cab mounts on the rear that are kind of on like shackle like things. I'll show you here in a second. And there's 2 more that are just like rubber puck mount style towards the front. And then of course we've got to take apart all of our pedal linkages for our accelerator pedal, our clutch. I think the starter pedal is okay. Our handbrake cable is already cut off from the pedal. We just really got to take apart the steering column, stuff like that. We might be able to do it at the shifter part down on the column, but Let's go over and take a look. I'll show you where these mounts are, and we're gonna start seeing if we can get these off. Supposed to be having a friend come over hopefully this afternoon still to help me get that removed, because it's gonna be kind of tough by myself. I could probably, get the frame like basically on the ground and then try and get it off with like the engine lift or something, but it's pretty big and I don't really want to like roll it off. Worst case, we could probably do something from the rafters inside the garage here, but that's kind of like worst case scenario. I do have a chain pulley set, so we'll have to see. But let me show you these mounts, and we're going to start taking all this stuff apart. So we're here on the passenger side. There's one mount, I believe it's right up here, this one. There's one here, there's one on the driver's side as well. And this is the other one back here. This is what I mean by like a shackle type thing. It's kind of interesting. It gives some flex to the cab, but we can either do these bolts or these, which either one I think will be okay, but we're definitely gonna need all new bushings on this thing, and probably get a replacement would be good too. But remove those there. Same thing on the other side. There's another set over there, and then another big puck mount on the front. And we've got to come around to the front up here, start working on cutting off, the heater hoses, the electrical, and snip all that. And what I would like to do is disconnect it from here, because it looks like there's a seal there. And if we can get that disconnected, then the column will be separated. And we've got to take apart our clutch pedal here. We've got our brake pedal we can undo here, and the handbrake, the parking brake is already taken apart. I have no idea what this is, but it looks like it's part of the cab. The only other one that we'll have to take a look at, which I think we're okay, is for our starter. We'll have to pull some of these pins here, maybe just this one, so it'll all come off with that pedal, because it just engages our starter by pushing that button there on the floor. So we should be able to get just a few bolts off, and we have to figure out how to get this thing off. Be nice with an extra person. I'm not sure if we're gonna have to like go up and over onto some dollies on the floor and then roll it, but we're gonna have to get crafty, because some of this bed stuff will not come apart until this is out of the way. Like these bolts here are just spinning inside there, so it's not doing us any favors. Gotta start messing with the tailgate too. See if we can get these bolts out so we can get this whole thing off. Some of these are booger welded. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but these down here, up here for this eye bolt, get that out. So trying to do one panel at a time, really trying to work our way through it, getting all these taken apart. We got these all off. These are the last ones that are literally just holding this back panel in place. And the good thing about it that I actually just kind of noticing is that it's straight. It's not like we're rammed through with a big bend in it or anything. So it's kind of nice. But we'll see what we can come up with. And then if we can get all four of these sides off, lay them all flat separate, then we should be able to attack the bed pretty quick. So we're making progress, but I'm going to zip through the cab mounts, start working on the engine bay, all this good stuff, and seeing about how on earth we're going to get this thing done. Again, we may have to two-man lift this thing if it's light enough, who knows. Or we'll just have to get the pulley system, flip this around, and use it in the lift, push out the frame, and then set it on some dollies. I'm not quite sure. Maybe we'll even have to pull the engine for clearance. Who knows? But we'll see. So anyway, let's get started. Alright, so we've got those unbolted. Of course, it's the very last one that wants to fight you. But this is that bolt. You can see it's all rusted and gross, and I'm really surprised this thing didn't snap. But we ended up having to get an 11/16 on a 3/4 inch because it was just so rotted. So we were able to just kind of hammer that on there, make it fit, put one of our ratchets on there. We had to break it loose with a breaker bar, get it to snap a little bit, and then impact, run it all home. So all four of those mounts should be off, which now means we can move on to steering parts. And my friend just texted me, he's like 20-30 minutes away. So he should be here shortly, which is like perfect timing because we can get this all unbolted. So when he gets here, we can start moving this thing. Well, after much trial and error, we finally got it all managed up here. That's probably what do you think, Randall? This is my friend Randall. He came over and helped me out. Huge shout out to him. Thank you for that. How high do you think that is?
Oh, at least 3 feet.
Yeah, it's got to be. All the way up, plus boards, plus a 4x4 with 3 2x4s, and then the jacks all the way up. Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah, it's about right.
Maybe 2.5 off the ground. I don't know.
I don't want to measure to find out.
A lot.
A lot. But the frame is out. Huge shout out to Elsa the Bus for getting it all pulled out for us. It was a huge lifesaver. Those tow hooks in the front really came in handy. But here's the frame. Completely out, done in the driveway. All the panels are off, all taken apart here, laid out, ready to get worked on. But again, a better look at the frame is there's only some damage here from whoever had this before. I thought it was a good idea that the hitch should be attached with a 9/16 bolt and some washers, and they bent this whole frame here. You can see just how sucked in that is, so we're gonna have to definitely work on that. Same thing here. This was so much downforce that this is actually what tweaked this. It was supposed to be bolted up on the top in the middle there, and it completely broke that as well. But one thing I noticed about the frame right away is it's all solid. It's all right there. All the bolts are there. There's not a huge rust pockets or anything. The only spot I noticed is right here when we removed the truck bed. A little bit ate through there, but everything else is here. All the cross members look good. Just got a little bit of the usual dirt and debris built up in there. But we see everything, and it all looks really, really good. A lot more tear down to go to get just to the frame so we can actually get this thing cleaned up and painted properly. But yeah, it looks really good, and it's getting dark on us quick, so we've got to start. The next thing is getting this thing down off of there onto some other dollies so we can roll them. But we've got the truck bed back here taken off, and this is a whole nother monster on its own. Trying to get this thing taken apart. Still got the wood underneath there. Got to get this diamond plate off of it, figure out how to get this tailgate off, take all the old lighting and deflectors off, hopefully break this all down into flat pieces so it's a lot easier to store. But we have to chew one piece at a time. But getting this thing all disassembled is a huge progress, and gonna make things a lot easier when it comes to getting body work done, metal work done, and all this stuff here, especially since you can get it up in your face and make some progress. So we're gonna keep trucking here and start getting a little bit of this cleaned up. But first things first is we need to get this down safely, and then we can start cleaning up everything and stowing it away and putting stuff on the shelf and all that kind of good stuff.
Many hours later.
Well guys, here we are all packed in the garage. All the pieces have been disassembled. Huge thank you to Randall who came over today to really help me out get the truck bed and the cab off. We were able to just, zip off those couple bolts that were holding the truck bed on and get that off. I don't think I caught that because the camera died. But everything is all taken apart. We have everything in here, which means we can really focus on getting this frame nice and clean. There's still a whole bunch of dirt and dust and grime all over this thing, and we still got to pull that straight six off of it with the transmission, pull the drive shaft out. It's still a huge amount of work, but I'm really excited we got everything taken off of the frame to really do this correctly all the way down to the, well, bare bones of the thing. So I think what we're going to start doing is possibly do a mixture of working on some panels to start getting those cleaned up, but also start doing stuff on the frame. You know, we've got old exhaust hangers we've got to take out the engine, and get that taken care of properly. We've got a transmission. The transmission shifts, so maybe that's something we could sell to help fund the build. Speaking of funding the build, if you guys have not checked out our merchandise website, you need to make sure you do that. There's a link down in the description. You guys definitely want to make sure you check that out. All sorts of good stuff. We haven't come out with the design yet for the truck. If you have any ideas, maybe you want to design for the truck, you know, you can comment that down below. That would really help me out because I'm not always the most creative person. But anyway, it's all packed in. The real build can really now begin. Now that it's all taken apart, one piece at a time, literally. Thank you guys so much for watching. Just make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribing really helps the channel, so please make sure you do that. Only about 25% of the people that watch the channel are subscribed, so if you're not, do that. Hit the notification bell and like the video. It really helps us out as we continue to grow and save cars like these to bring you free content here on YouTube. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And until next time, we'll see you.